I would like to invite our next speaker, Professor Takashi Masuyama from Josai University. Josai.
Hi. First, I thank all the faculty members and the staff dedicated to this conference, and also on behalf of the president of Josai University in Japan, I express gratitude for inviting me on this special occasion, presenting you a piece of maybe small part of corporate governance. But thank you very much. And just I'm checking. Okay, well, maybe I'm shortening my presentation into 20 minutes, and I just show you the last page. And my title is the third speaker, a study on the conceptual contradiction between Japan's Stewardship Court in 1914 and Fair Disclosure Rule in 18. I think Japan is very greenfield, blue ocean area in adopting corporate governance conceptions. And as first speaker, Professor Magdalena said that Japan is categorized as a UK-style principle-based continental model, but we are forced by mostly Americans that introducing American-based rules. So just a lot of contradictions between rules and real practical applications. And this is a stock prices chart, because I used to be working for Mitsubishi UFJ Trust and Banking Corporation as an asset manager for a long time. I changed my career into this academic field 7 years ago, and this is the current stock indices price. Japan is very low, just the half of the 30 years ago in 89. But of course, as you know, the US indices, Nasdaq, Dow are very high, so 10 times, 6 times compared with those in 1989. Also, the German DAX and Morgan Stanley European stock indices are also very high, 4 times, 5 times. But why is Japan losing money? I mean, it's less attractive in producing and generating money for the corporation. My point of view is that it's very difficult for Japan to introduce governance rule. That's the reason why I'm making a presentation from the first page. There are many professors stating that the definitions of the corporate governance differs. And I just stipulated the US rules, but even in the US rules, there are a lot of those. And from a very long one and a very short one. But the common rule is related to the accountability to providers of capitals. The providers of capitals or the related persons, and I should say stockholders or stakeholders of a company. Also, the rationale behind this presentation is the fair disclosure. Fair disclosure is very, the key component of the corporate governance. Okay, and corporate governance refers to the notions such as transparency and equal treatment, not selective one, and timely and prompt disclosure and fairness. And for all stockholders or stakeholders, I mean, or I should say stakeholders in the interested parties. And the purpose of this presentation is three things: to understand peculiarity and vagueness of Japan's fair disclosure rule. It's very, very new, stipulated in last year, 2018. The second is Japan's fair disclosure rule versus Japan's stewardship code. Stewardship code is, of course, you are the specialist, but stewardship code is to promote a long-term financial investment for the investors, stock owners. But these two rules contradict each other. The third is forecasting the effectiveness of Japan's fair disclosure rule in the end. This is a very basic, three players exist. The first is the issuer, that those who disclose information is information emitter. The second is brokers, okay? The securities firms, those who broke, those are called intermediary. The third is investor. Investor, those who receive information, so information receiver. And Japan's fair disclosure rule is that information should be disclosed equally to all investors, okay? Not selective one. The big amount, small amount investors, no related. It's fairly equal to all investors, okay? This is the concept of the fair disclosure rule. And, the Japan's fair disclosure rules is adopted very similar to the US, as the first Magdalena sensei mentioned that Japan simulates Anglo-American model. So you simulated the American stipulations, paper rules. And some parts are very ambiguous. We say the material information, but this is what is the material? Okay, it's very ambiguous. And such listed company we say, but such, what is such? Also, this rule applies only to listed companies. I mean, information limiter. Okay. And thirdly, the rule says that such information. But such information is, as I said, the material information that Japan doesn't specify what the material information is. So still that under construction, okay? The rule is under construction. The last year the rule was enacted, but this is directly caused by incidents, fraud cases, like Deutsche Bank case, Credit Suisse case, lot of Barclays firm case in Japan. So all these European banks conducted fraud incidents in Japan. So the government of Japan, the Japan FSA, made a rule in Japan last year. So we haven't had enough rule until then. That's fundamental cause of the reason, maybe. My recommendation is that regulation FD is the original law, is coming from USA back in 1934. And Japan rule is lighter than, of course, lighter than any other countries in the world. But US rule has more detailed one, like the rule is different from passive investors case and the active investors case. Also, the US case has a very clear description of material information. However, very recently, Trump administration takes very minimum standards, so that they forget about the existing rules, but generally speaking, US rules are clearer than us. But on the other hand, from UK's viewpoint, under Western business concept, the UK rules not from back in 19th century, 18th century, but still recently. But the Cadbury report is, I think, in the recent times, the base of the rule. And also, this is also two incidents happened, and also to prevent those events in the future, so UK created the rules. But the rationale behind the UK rules are to hold the asset value for a long time. Okay, the base is the heritage, inherited. Tax is very expensive in UK, and also social welfare is very important. So there has been the charitable rule and trust rule in UK. So the benefit of the investor is very important for a long time. So that is the, I think, UK's base understanding. And also change my topic a little bit. This is how to protect the corporate value for the asset owner, okay, investor. But that Hammond Watkins, this is a very US legal firm, but it states that the corporate money is no more exist in the money managers, okay. They already outsourced the function of managing money to either separate internal function or proxy agent firm. Okay, this is very important because the segregation of duties or to prevent insider trading, the voting function is not existing in the company. Okay, they all outsource to a special function in the company or outside the firm. Okay, that is the real world. So that I just easily categorize as these. If you have no reaction in voting, there is no action. You have maybe tacit, implicit agreement on the agenda, or just simply waive a social responsibility. But if you vote, okay, the voting function is now in internal function, or as I said, outside proxy agents. Now this is a very big problem because the stewardship code enhances the long-term value of a stock, but how to protect the long-term value? It's already in the proxy agent hand, a special purpose function of internal company. So it's away from the original decision functioning entity. So that's my question, okay? So it's a little bit difficult. And there is a big conceptual contradiction between stewardship code and fair disclosure, okay? Because the stewardship code is okay, there are some elements of definitions, okay? The sustainable value created through collaborative, creative creation by company and investors. The second is capital efficiency, evolution in which ROE exceeds the cost of capital, of course. The third, the forming and optimizing the investment chain. The fourth is becoming a dialogue-rich company that pursues high-quality dialogue between companies and investors. And finally, establishing a management investment forum, MIF. Okay, management of a firm has to have a very intensive dialogue with the money, with the financial investors, the major financial investors, pension fund, and key financial institutions. So, in this sense, the stewardship code is aiming very selective investors, okay? Because most stocks are held by big institutions, pension fund, and big trust companies, and worldwide financial institutions. And also, the stewardship code, in addition to that, is, as I said, the company, the owner of the company has to form the MIF, Management Investment Forum, with selected big institutions. This is, of course, a selective disclosure. And also, this is contradict with the idea of fair disclosure to all equal investors. So all these big rules contradict each other. Adopting these two rules in Japan is, in my opinion, is impossible. Impossible, because originally rule is coming from continent. I mean, because continent, of course, has a very long history. So principal basis. But very recently, after World War II, almost all rules are coming from United States of America. So we have to write in paper just very similar to US rules, Anglo-Saxon American rules. So all these difficult stuff of things is very difficult to manage all the time. Okay, that's my conclusion of the effectiveness of Japan's fair disclosure rule. So I have very negative view on in the long run on the effectiveness of Japan's fair disclosure rule, because this, as I said many times, contradicts with the stewardship code to promote long-term value of asset. Why? Because easy. Okay, Japanese investors sell stock very immediately. Okay, sell and buy are equally useful in making money. Holding for a long time, if you have a very big and also continuously earning company, oh, you can invest for a long time. But Japan suffered many, illness in making money, and for I should say 25 to 30 years. So the Japanese investors lose confidence in making money, especially in long-term investment. So it's very difficult. And also some, famous professor at the University of Chicago French farmer model said that, okay, you have an equal chance of selling or buying stocks, okay? And the farmer said that stock value, stock returns, is irrelevant with any level of information disclosed, even with information, insider information, okay? The level of information is irrelevant with the stock evaluation, okay? That's the farmer stated. So it's very difficult in making money, especially for holding for a long-term period of time. It's not making a profit companies, okay? All right, so I think I should stop my presentation. This is finally, I saw the same chart. That's the reason why the disclosure rule or the stewardship code rules are very difficult to adopting in Japan for the long time, okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you. And it's time for questions. Okay, Professor.
Thank you for interesting presenting this interesting paper. And I have a question concerning if I pronounce it Mochai. It was a certain way of holding shares to protect Japanese ownership in the companies. Is it still significant or not? Or and maybe it is one of the reasons that the market is not developing so well, because the companies protect their shareholding.
Mochai is no more major. It's reducing the shares for, especially there used to be a rule that banks are having the stocks of all listed companies because they are afraid, I mean, the owner of the companies are afraid of M&A case, of course, undesirable stock purchase and also merger and acquisition case from outside of Japan. But recently, for these 30 years, Japan, most companies, of course, non-listed or listed, all companies have lost money for the companies. There's no more power of holding these shares each other for a long time. So the banks, major banks, including Mitsubishi UFJ, gave up holding the stocks companies, client companies' stocks anymore. So gradually, upon a mutual agreement between the company and the bank, and also schedule has to be set on each year. Okay, this year we're gonna each sell these stocks, a bunch of stocks, and the next year. And the Mochai is no more major in Japan. That's the reason why, one of the reasons why the stocks that remain very low in Japan, because the internal sell pressure is very strong. The most buyers are, I said, the non-Japanese, institutional investors from outside. So that's the reason why that Abe administration is very concerned about the long-term stock value, but it's very difficult to go up, in my impression. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. We will have opportunity to ask more questions during coffee break.